Testing, 1, 2, 3. Hi there, Alfred. How you doing? Can you actually hear me, Alfred? Yeah, you can see my screen as well. We'll just do the same thing like yesterday, where I will not have my video because I'm doing it from my desktop. It's easier. You can hear my voice though, so let me just check. Give me a second. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I think they're on their way, so we will just wait for a bit. All right, guys, thank you very much for attending my webinar. Today is 21st of July. Now here we want to look into trades because there's not many in the room. So we will try to look into repeating the topics that I have posted so we can look more into troubleshooting, looking into your trade ideas, into your floatings, into trade ideas, and also signals that we can trade for the day. It's probably much more interesting. But the rest of it, of course, they are very important as well. Certain topics like lot sizing and all that, which we will look into it more when we have more people attending the webinars as well. Okay. All right, guys. So let's look into this. We'll start off with the EuroCAD first because we want to look into how we are repairing it. And we are looking into, well, now it is trading at 5394. I've got my, certain trades on as well for EuroCAD from before on the buy side. Some I've closed, but or some have hit the SL as well with the buy trade that I've done. But this moment of time, for the ones that are having it as floating, we are seeing the potential of a shark type pattern here. Okay, but I want to show you what I mean by that so that you can get a bit of an idea, just so that we can see it as a pattern as well, so that it makes better explanation of what to expect. And this is basically it. Let me just give me a second. I'm just collecting info on the other screen. Okay. Okay, so here we are. All right, I'm sharing you another screen at the moment. So here, for example, we're talking about the EuroCAD, and yes, we're looking to GBP AUD Pratap, no problem. Second entry, okay. Yeah, that's your message. Okay, GBP AUD, we'll look into that after this one. So here we're talking about the possible movement of EuroCAD, and what's happening at the moment is I'm looking at this A point right here because the price is visiting the A point at the moment here. Okay, so as you can see, is the A point here, right? So I'm waiting for it to actually come down lower than this A point. Okay, now if I bring you to the chart, so the A point is here. Let me just, okay, so we've got an A point there, right? I'll put it in blue. See, there we go. So I need it to go under that area, and that area there on the A point itself is very close to the 5380 area. Hence the reason I would like price to go under the 5380 psychological level first for me to get an idea of whether or not I should consider the selling so that it can then cover some of the losses as well. So here, for those who have their EuroCAD still open, so here we are looking at that coming downwards, and usually the C point, meaning that your take profit is way below that first area right here. Okay, so then you see all these dots here. It says 1.618 to 2.24. That means if you pull your Fibonacci extension from A to B, the upper mouth of the shark pattern, you pull your Fibonacci from A to B, you can expect the price to fall down to 1.618 to 2.24. So we'll just do that. So here, for example, let me just get rid of that so that we don't have much noise. Okay, so here, this is the upper mouth of the shark. Okay, so then if at all this is proving to be stronger in a downtrend and you want to take your downtrend move, then you want to pull your Fibonacci from this here to the upper jaw area, and then you can look into 1.618 to 2.24. Okay, so here it says 2.24 or 1.618. So you can easily use the blue line here, 1.618, okay, or 2.24. So you can see that it's, let me just put this in blue. Okay, so we've got this and this area. So that basically means that if we were to follow this principle, you've got a potential of price dropping way below all these areas here as well, right down to the 1.618, which is about 100 plus pips drop. And then if it goes further to 2.24, roughly, that could actually easily be about 200 plus 210, 218 pips or so. So that is what we expect. But again, cannot get too excited with that as well, because as it comes down lower, we have got some support here. Okay, so maybe immediate support as well. We need to take into consideration this area right here, which is at 5340. We need to look into 5350 area. So if we move this to 5350, okay, psychological number, that's an area there. So we can possibly expect a drop, if at all it's becoming stronger and downtrend, a drop of at least about 40 to 50 pips or so on the downside. But again, we want to confirm whether or not it will be from the 5380 area anyway, if we were to consider some selling pressure. But again, if we look into the price as of now, we need to go to the left, and it's best to go on to maybe the daily chart as well, and to look into whether we have got some very bearish candle in that area, especially this red line area here, which is 5377 or so. So 5370 onwards is a good selling area, of course. But then if we follow this red line itself, we have got several single mother candles that are quite reasonably long as well to the downside. So if I adjust this 53, let's say 5377 to 5370, as though we are preparing for a sell, let's say it's an ideal selling zone or area based on psychological numbers, then you're looking at that red line there. Okay, so that red line, let me just get rid of this one here. So get rid of the green one as well. So we've got a red line right there at a potential selling area. Then we want to look at it. As you can see, if we just follow the red line itself, you've got several single bearish candles that are reasonably or significantly quite long. Okay, so let's say if we are looking at there's one here which is average quite similar in length. So let's say we're looking into this one here, right down to that area, that's 124 pips. Then if we were taking to that one there, that's again about 92 pips or so. And we've got another one here, that's again about 118 pips or so. And then we've got another one here as well. We've got quite a number, so that's a good sign that you've got a lot of power there. 100 again, 102, and then we got this one here, most recent one, 104. So I can easily say anywhere between 80 to 100 pips on average is the potential drop of price once it actually reaches the 5370 area, if at all the trend as well is, you know, beginning to pick up to the downside. The other reason as well, especially with the daily chart, is that we have got this pin bar area for the euro cap. Okay, so this means that if we want to repair some of the trades that are floating, then we may potentially have to get into this trade for the sell side of it, and then we want to look into 5370 at least for a sell. So if we are looking at to exit, then you want to look at the shortest I would say reasonably shortest one so that we are safe in terms of the mother candle there. So if you've got about 80, let's say you want to take about 70 pips or so and not reach 100 pips, and just look into what the price is there at 5287. So you can actually take profit at your 5290 area. So that would then give you about 80 pips exactly if you are looking at entering at 5370. So you can always do a pending order at the 5370 area, and then have this one here reach the 5290 area, or even 95 if you want. So that is it. But the other option as well is to look at not gaining as many pips as 80 pips, but to look into maybe 40 pips. That means you're waiting for it to drop even more, to drop at 5, let's say 5340 area, for example, and then you want to take profit at 5310 area, gives you about 60 pips or so. No, sorry, 30 pips or so. So if you want to take that as well, you can, but it's a risk evaluation thing that needs to be done here, is because here we are now in sort of a risky zone, especially if we were already on a buy, and then now we have to actually repair it with a sell, because at the moment, if I were to look at really long term, there's still a lot of chances of upward type movement for the euro cat. At some point something might come in, and because what's happening right now with the EuroCAD, if we look at into the weekly chart as a whole, is that we may have a potential cup here. Okay, and this cup is really rounded and very, very nice. So that actually means that it's got potential to go up to the mouth of the cup area, which is around here. Okay, which is exactly at where the TP3 is, right? So now with the weekly, you can see that it is really a rounded cup, and the rounder it is of how it actually really respects this whole area here, making a nice curve to the upside, is actually looking really, really good. Okay, and then you have got so many, it's a little bit too many candles concentrated down here to create loads of support actually in this area, and it's also showing a lot of exhaustion of downward movement. So that actually means that it's finding it quite difficult to actually penetrate through, to come through it, because it's already formed a very nice rounded cup at the base of the cup. So what usually then happens is that if it does reach there, then you will find it resisting first. So there may be some reason, use whatever, once it reaches there to push the prices down. And it usually comes down to 50% of the, from the top of the cup to the bottom of the cup. If you pull it, you pull a Fibonacci, for example, from here, sorry, from here, not the spike candle there, from here, let's say, down to 50%. So if I were to do that, let me just, okay. So if I were to have that, pulling it all the way from top to bottom, extend this a little bit more, you can see that the 50% is here. So if I take that, bring it here, okay. So that means at about 1.5424 or so, the price could actually come down to this area before it makes a rise again. Let's see. Okay, before, once it comes here, then it will reverse again, go up towards the mouth of the cup, pierce through. If it does break out, it pierce through, and then at some point come back down to the mouth of the cup, and then boom, goes up. So the upward move, once it does all these movement, and then on the way up, that upward move is quite big, because it could potentially be the distance of the how you call that, from the base or mouth of the cup to the base of the cup. So that is like quite significant number of pips from the top area right down. That's about 700 plus pips. So only after it's done all these things, then it could potentially do all that. So you've got a lot of trading opportunities, of course, for the euro can, but it's driven by what's going on in euro, as well as the oil prices and everything else that are impacting the Canadian dollar at the moment. as well. Okay, so we've also got COVID cases in both continents regions, the Eurozone, as well as in Canada. So economically, we may have some impact there as well, but then it's very oil sensitive for the Canadian dollar. So the euro is very COVID and China tension sensitive, as well as the euro economies. Okay, so we are looking at these things happening for the euro cat. So hopefully that's clear for you guys. Okay, if you're looking into repairing your trades for the EuroCAD, or you're looking into trading again, this is basically the rough route of EuroCAD based on a weekly chart, and it's a very big pattern right there, giving us a lot of room for trading. But then again, it's got all these zigzags going on, so you want to be very, very clear with knowing how you want to measure your own risk as well. Okay, and also your stop loss level, your risk level per trade, you want to keep it to a level that you have decided, and keep that with all your trades. So at least that could actually be maintaining your margin or your equity quite well. Okay, all right, so let me all this, how do I get rid of that? Yeah, clear all drawings. Okay, there you go, got that one done. Okay, so now which one was it, Pratap? You've mentioned about GBP AUD, was it? Yeah, GBP AUD. We'll take a look at that one. Yeah. Alfred, do you have any question on the EuroCAD so far for now? You're okay. All right, so we'll go to GBP AUD, was it? Yeah. Okay, good. GBP AUD. All right. So EuroCAD, CDC Chef. All right, let's look at GBP AUD. What's going on there? Let me also check with some heat maps that I have here. Okay, so you're looking at GBP AUD. Give me a second. Yeah, looks like it's on the downside for on both European session as well as American session. Even it started with a lot of downward move in the Asian sessions as well. So it looks like it has, continued to pick up in terms of the trend to the downside. We look into the daily chart first, and then you can see it's quite clear to the downside. It's even gone into stronger momentum to the downside with quite significant, I would say quite strong bearish type candle right there, because you know why? That candle there doesn't have a wick as well, and if it doesn't have a wick, it's quite strong to the downside. It's also trading at 79.22, so I would put two lines. One is on the 79.20, not 20, but 79.00 area as your psychological level. 79, no, sorry, 78, 70, no, 79.00. Yeah, 79.00. That's one of your psychological number there. Maybe the line's too thick, so I'm just gonna, there you go. Okay, so it's quite close. It's reasonably close to 79.00 as well, but also because we're looking at the daily chart right there. So 79, and then you've got 79.20 as your, sorry, not 79.20, but 8020 as your psychological level. 020. Okay, so we have got it there. So we need to break out from there. But let's look at the power itself on the daily chart. It looks, quite good in terms of trend. I think I'm missing one line here. So I'm going to insert the 200 EMA. Okay. There we go. All right. So you can see that in terms of trend, yes, it's still looking quite strong to the downside. It's in within that area now. But let's look at the power of a single bearish candle based on looking to the left. So here you can see, I mean, the closest breakout candle that is strong. I mean, we've got some shorter candles. We've got one right there as well, coming downwards, right? So that breakout itself from the red line, let's say of 7900 onwards, could potentially come down to, that's quite a significant 205 pips with that single candle right there. So yes, we have power. We've also got second power, which is more powerful, I would say. That one there is already about 350, 349 pips on the second one that we found right there. Let's see whether we've got quite a few. We've definitely got quite a few. We've got this one here, 127 pips. We got again another one right here that mirrored the other one that we first seen. That's 194 pips, almost 200 right there. And we've got some more. You see, we've got quite a number here, and the distance between one and another is not so, apart. And it looks like there is a bit of a pattern at 220 plus right there. We've also got something hasn't really touched that there, but that's about 180 there. We've got quite a number. We've got this one here, that's your 220. Again, it's about 100 there, 99. I think we don't need to look too far to the end, but also we need to notice what's happening with that area right there. It's also a significant support area that happened around here, took prices from that point right up about 4,528 pips. So that's really very, very significant. Okay, that happened roughly 2014. Okay, 2014 time. All right, good. So here, if I look at the base right there, okay, you've got 7850. So it's exactly at the psychological number of 7850 that we found that the GBP AUD found support and then go down. So what I would suggest is to always look into, if at all we are looking into riding a downtrend, we need to respect this uptrend as well, or this support area. So we should not actually enter a buy or a sell or anything like that before the price goes under 78.40. So 78.40, 78.50 and below, sorry. So 78.40 could ideally be a good price for selling to take place, especially if we are looking at the build-up of trend itself. It looks like it's still steady on the downside with all this bearish candle, but no selling should actually take place until it goes under 78.50. So 1.7840 would actually be a bit better for the GBP AUD. So what we then do now, since we are looking at just the trend side of it on the daily chart, we need to go onto the lower time frame, like the 4-hour, for example. And here on the 4-hour, when we look at the 4-hour here, we can see that it is still the same case. We've got all the support here. So we need to go under, price needs to go under these supports first before we consider any more selling. Okay, so now we cannot do anything because it is very, very risky, because it could then just bounce up and mirror that 4,000 plus pips move that started at some point around here. Okay, so slightly under it started, I think, that time here. Okay, 7850 area. So 7850 is your psychological number, but also a very, very significant support in the past in 2014 that has brought price from that point up by 4,000 plus pips. Okay, so then we want to look into strong bearish candle based on the 4-hour chart as well. And we can see the same scenario that we have seen on the daily chart. So we can see that, yes, you see that long candle right there upon breakout as well. 78.40, let's say if it's 78.40 right down to this area, that's already about 80 pips or so. That's at 7751 area right there. So we need to lessen the pip a little bit by tweaking the psychological numbers. But just as an idea, you can see the same thing that have actually happened in the daily chart as well. You've got all that long single bearish candle. So now we want to go lower time frame to the 1-hour chart. okay, as well, and look for the same thing and see which single bearish candle can we actually write from the 7850 area based on the uh, 1 hour chart. So here, yes, you have that long candle there. It may not actually be as many pips as what we have seen on a daily chart, but see, you can actually take short term. That's already about 67 pips right there, which is good. So you will tweak the psychological level as well, and we want to see more whether they are more longer bearish single mother candles as well. Okay, let's see. But it's reasonably enough to see. You see, you've got some more here as well from there. No, it's the wrong one. So you need to look at from the 7850 area. Yeah, 7850. Because it's just too risky to look at any buying or selling at this area here. That support is really very, very significant. So, okay. So under 7850. And we do have some more bearish single mother candles there. It's okay. It's good enough to actually look into that selling area. So you've got another one right here, and that will take price down by about 56 pips, but the price is at 79.65. Yeah, you can take that 79.65. It gives us about 55 pips, but you need to minus 10 there. So about 45 pips or so potential you can actually expect from the sell side, but it has to be, I think it's the wrong side again. So it has to be under 78.50, sorry, under 78.50. Yeah, okay, we got it here. Okay, here to here, that is your 46 pips. Yeah, 40 plus, sorry, pips. So 78.50, 78.40, you need to 78.00. Okay, 78.10, 78.40. So you got about 30 pips or so from the downside, on the downside. So this is another thing on the GBP AUD. So yeah, there you go. So now it's giving us, on the 1 hour chart, of course, it gives us a very good reason to see that it's really strong to the downside. But this is what the market usually tricks you, because you need to look into daily chart to look at what you could notice, and it's really very clear. You can actually see you've got a support right there. You go watch out for that support, especially on the daily chart. You've got some more support right there. Then you've got all the bigger ones, which is right there. So it's really very risky to do any trading at this moment of time until price goes down. But then we want to always look into the charts as well, look into the trend is showing us on the downtrend, but then again it'll trick the market into believing that very tricky, will make you believe that this is actually the time for you to enter. But then if you don't look into the daily chart or various other time frames and just to look to the left, then most people would just enter the trade right now. So it's probably better to wait a little bit, and then you want to trade in stages to the downside. Okay, with that, that's clear. Okay. All right, good. Okay, perfect. So that's for your GBP AUD. So now, good. Glad you found it. Yeah, it is actually whenever we doing the live webinars, it's usually really helpful for traders, especially when we're sort of like trading together kind of thing, and then looking at all the movements being impacted by current situation that is going on. Even though we are on time difference of 5 hours, for example, but then you'll be trading on European sessions anyway, because the European session is the one that is active at the moment, as well as the London sessions. European sessions usually governed by the European stocks as well, and major centers like Frankfurt, Milan, or sorry, not Milan, yeah, Milan as well, and also France, so in Paris. So this is basically what we are dealing with at this moment of time when we are trading at this time. But we can actually usually see very big movements as well, especially because we have got the US Open just coming in, and then it is just overlapping the later sessions of the European and the GBP, the London Open, London close sessions as well. So this is probably one of the best timing as well, especially from 7 o'clock Malaysian time right up to about 10 or so. It's actually quite good because of that overlap. So yeah, that's good. So if you've got GBP AUD there, so Pratap what to do with that, and you can actually park your pending order on the sell on there. I just don't see it reversing too fast, too much on the upside. So because the trend is really doing well on the downside, mainly because of Australia's strength, you see. But GBP as a whole, it is actually much better in terms of value compared to Euro, because Euro is weakening big time. But then GBP, for example, is strengthening. But because it's combined with AUD, that shows that AUD is really picking up. But it's also because it's mainly because of what the governor has actually mentioned yesterday, which was a very strong statement on two things. One, the governor of Australia, and he said two things that basically will drive Australian buyers or traders to buy the Australian dollar much more. It's because number one is the interest rate. He says there's no chance of negative interest rate, which basically means no chance of lowering rates. And the other is he given a bit more confidence of the economy and how the things are managed in Victoria and Melbourne, especially because they went through a second shutdown in Victoria, but then he rests assured that everything is actually under control, and that sort of really stirred up the confidence of the majority of the people, you see. So that is basically it. Yeah. Okay. Hi there, Shenko. How are you doing? Yes, of course. It's best to discuss interesting things like what you've just pointed out about the Morningstar Doji. Of course, yes. So we've got a Morningstar Doji pattern. I must say, honestly, I'm not that good with patterns in terms of candlestick pattern. I only look into the pin bar pattern, but maybe that is what you're talking about as well. But no, let's explore that. Morningstar Doji pattern. Let's talk about the Doji pattern in general, basically, which is an exhaustion pattern, right? So you're talking about GBP AUD as well on the weekly chart that has been confirmed. Okay, let's just check on that one. Give me a second. All right. Let's look into this. GBP AUD on the weekly chart. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, are you talking about this one here or this one here? Is that correct? That to me doesn't really look like a doji, because of the way it actually has moved. It is actually sandwiched in between one bearish candle here and also a bullish candle, and then you've got all these other ones here. How you actually confirm that to be a doji in general is we need two candles to happen moving upwards, then you got that as a reversal pattern. But look at how these candles move. Two candles after that didn't happen whereby one is higher than the other, and this was a bearish candle. You need two bullish candle in this scenario because all the move has actually gone down. And if it has gone down and then you get a doji here, let's say, this is a doji, yes, but then an effective doji that could actually then communicate a reversal has to happen in a way whereby you have all this downward move, you have the doji, then you need two candles moving upwards, one higher than the other, bullish candle, but that didn't happen. So in my guess, I think it may actually break through and come down more because this is not really an effective or successful doji reversal. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Because the other thing as well is that if you look into the daily chart for GBP AUD itself, it's just very much to the downside. And if it's really to the downside and you put in your indicator, you go to trend and you click on average directional movement index, you at the 25 level and you want to measure whether or not this is a strong downtrend. Now the daily chart gives us this under the 25, which basically means it's not very strong as yet. But if we go onto the 4-hour chart, you can see that it's just picking up on the downside. Because why downside? Because this is all towards the downside for the GBP AUD. But if we want to look at, if you're looking at weekly and then you're looking at potential to the upside, it is still going to be a little bit too far ahead as well for those who want to trade now, for example. So if it is actually predicted to be on the upside, it will still be to the downside on lower time frame anyway, because it will be like sort of the corrective move for the upward trend. But even on the weekly or monthly, I still see that the candles are trading quite strongly to the downside. I think we have the daily, the 200 exponential is here. Okay, so the other thing we can do is to look at it like a story build up from very low time frames, like the 5 minutes, the 15 minutes, for example. So if I take this one away, okay, and you look at it, let's say you want to start from the 5-minute chart and you want to look at how the majority of candles, especially the current candles or the current prices, are actually moving. As you can see from the 5 minutes itself, it has even gone under the 20 and the 8 moving average, which actually gives us a good signal to the downside. And then you want to see, to compare the 5 minutes with the 15 minutes, whether the same story applies. It seemed to be even lower than all these lines. And then you go to 30-minute chart, you can see that the build up is still to the downside. It's still under all these lines as well. But again, if you see the 3 lines like this, the 3 EMAs, the 50, the 100 and the 200 are like this, it always would indicate lack of clarity, okay? But it does not indicate strength, because the strength may still be there, but then the clarity, it may take some more time to actually impact the downward trend. So if we go into the 1 hour, it is still looking the same as well. Everything is under all the lines as well. But of course, yes, we've got a bit of uncertainty going on with the way the 3 exponential moving averages are actually moving. So yes, anything can actually happen as well at any time with the GBP AUD, mainly because of the way the 3 EMAs are moving. Only the candles are showing a lot of participation to the downside. Has actually gone under, on the 4 hour, has actually gone under this support here, and it is aiming, the next here, but maybe I would want it to go under this area here, because we've got a railway track type reversal candle there, which is quite powerful, significant as well, and it's not far away from that support right there. So I would see it as 7880 area. So when prices come downwards, it's only at 7, okay, it's at 7910 area, but again, it's too close to this area right here for more bullishness to happen. And here, for example, so talking about the doji, or let's say the pin bar right here, what I like to see is that if I've got the pin bar here, or even let's say it's a doji here, I would, if it were to move upwards, I need 2 candles down at least like this, one lower than the other. Then I can classify this as a doji or a pin bar. Then I would, from the second closing of the second candle onwards, then I can consider more selling. Okay, that would be my entry area like that. So this is how I combine a little bit of the candle sort of knowledge into the pattern as well. Because like here, you can then combine it with a pattern as well, because this is your AB, then your CD goes downwards right there. And then you can see that you can actually aim this down here, but then because it is based on the how you call that, on the candles, on the pattern as well, then my entry would also use the centroid area to actually enter. Okay, so then my entry would also be down here, which is again a good confirmation. They have many candles after to come down. But if you want to if you want to enter earlier, then you can enter at 2 candles reversal. After 2 candles, you take the third candle and you can actually enter. Okay, so this is it's just it depends on the market situation as well, and then you want to combine the right strategy. And you want to see whether or not at certain time patterns would be best fitted as a strategy. At certain time, maybe the pattern's not that clear, not good enough, and then you want to use other strategies. Sometimes the patterns are not clear, but then the Elliott waves are quite clear, then you want to use Elliott wave, for example. So yeah, that's basically it. So this is for the GBP AUD. So as of now, I think we're looking at perhaps more moves to downside. I just have to confirm again with the ADX here is just not clear as well. So yeah, it is that kind of market at the moment for GBP AUD, whereby you need to expect anything. It can actually be a sudden reversal, can be a continuation, can be almost anything, but it's just not very clear at this moment. I would guess because it's been combined with the AUD, because AUD, we've got all the interference from not interference, but then decisions made by central banks and all that. Usually it is quite strong because it involves all the policies and everything else, economic and politics all mixed up together. So when we had the policy meeting yesterday, speech as well, then that sort of sealed the deal for what Australia is going to do, which is not to decrease the rate. So that actually means that a lot of movement to the upside. So the movement to the upside by AUD basically is making the GBP having not much choice but to actually go lower. But then again, there's a lot of improvement on the GBP side of it. So there's a little bit of tug of war going on between what's going on in Britain and what's going on in the UK. So hence the reason we don't have much clarity of trend at this moment of time until the bigger boys, which are mainly central bankers of these two countries, come up to a good balance agreement, and we don't know what that is yet. And hence the reason we're getting all this sideways type movement of the 3 EMAs. Okay, so at this moment of time, I'm just maybe shying away from not GBP crosses, but GBP AUD in particular, but maybe look into GBP something else that has got a better sort of balance between what is continuous strength and what is continuous weakness from both sides. Like here, we can see that there is a tug of war where both could potentially be strong in terms of policies and economic. So that's why we're having that sort of non-clarity for GBP AUD as a pair to trade. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Euro GBP is also looking quite interesting. I'm just waiting for whether or not it could actually be moving under the 89.80 area to look at 89.70 to actually sell and then take profit. I would say 88.60 and above. Okay, so that down to 89.70, so 89, oops, second, 89.70 to 88.60 area. That is a good 100 pips or so. So you can take less as well to be on the safe side, but I'm aiming at that bearish candle breakout right there, single bearish candle. So that one there, or we've got ample of bearish candles as well. So reasonably long ones, powerful ones. So we're just waiting to look into the Euro GBP. So more movement to the downside gives us a little bit of potential right there to the downside. Again, it'll find maybe support at either one of the lines as well, which is quite a big potential too. But then if you move on to the 4-hour chart, we can see that it's the same thing as well. So yeah, I want to look at this as an opportunity. Let me just check on my heat map right here. Okay, now as of today, we are looking at a lot of weakness actually building up for the USD. Today's the 21st, right? Yes, so on the 21st today itself, we are looking at USD weakness, NZD strength, AUD strength, GBP strength, AUD again strength on the Asian session, main sessions, AUD and GBP. So we're looking at weakness on USD, especially on the sessions now, which is called the main session. The main sessions are out of the Asian session, meaning the European combined with the UK and the US. These are the main sessions. So this time around, we get the overlapping, or mainly the overlapping of three main markets, especially the US market. We look at London as its own as well, because the highest transaction of Forex is actually in London. It's not in New York, it's not in Chicago. Okay, so that's why we want to monitor all these markets as well. So here, that's for Euro GBP. Now with GBP USD, it's one. I'm still looking at GBP CHF. GBP strength is still in the main session as well. Let me see whether I've got any new upcoming ones as well. Let's see. Okay, so AUD USD is also looking very, very strong. May actually be, as you can see, it has already reached its take profit right there. Was a nice trade on that one there. But this nice trade that we have done, we've analyzed it together as well since 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, is mainly due to what we have actually seen on the daily chart. So even though I do my entry, on a 4-hour mostly, and then sometimes on a 1-hour as well, sometimes even lower time frames, depending on the market, depending on what I would like to enter in what style of trading, whether it's intraday, whether it's lower, whether it's long term and all that. I usually look into the daily chart for my trend first. So it's exactly like how I have actually shown you guys earlier on all the other trades. So I looked into the daily, and then I make my plan downwards, meaning going down the time frames, and then look at trends as well, and then single bearish or bullish candles and all that kind of thing. So here, for example, we're looking at, let's look at daily chart again. Okay, so daily chart itself. So I'll get rid of all these ones here on the AUD USD, because I foresee some more potential, some more movement to the upside. If we were to just zoom out, you can see that if at all it were to go upwards, look at the space that it has, because you see the standalone sort of resistance is around here. You want to put it lower as well, you can. You put it, let's say, this low. Okay, we're going to do it that low as well, so that it touches that, and also that. And these are all reasonably significant resistance, let's say, right? So if at all price were to move upwards, it's got all this space to actually move upwards. But again, as it moves upwards, and if the trend is on the upside, it will be moving upwards, but then you need to look to the left on potential resistance, 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 resistance. So that's what I meant by trading in stages, is trading within a trend, but then looking to the left and exiting before the resistance that you see, especially in this upward type movement for AUD USD. But AUD USD in its own right at the moment is looking like it is really picking up in the trend. So let's use heat map as well. So you can see that all the currencies here, they are all of them here that you can see are strongly bearish because of the dark red color against the USD. And you see the USD is the only one at this moment of time that has all of this column against all other currencies to be very, very bullish. So these are all very bearish against AUD, which actually means AUD is really picking up in its bullish momentum. So we look into AUD specifically, then you can see that it is specifically very, very strong on all 4 time frame, from the 4-hour to the daily, weekly, and monthly, especially against USD and CAD. And the rest as well is not too bad, up to the weekly, very, very strong. So I see loads of trading opportunities on the AUD. So let's look into AUD USD first. And you can see that number one is a trend. You can see the momentum picking up very crazily strong, especially this is on the daily chart with a single mother candle right there as well. As we go to the left, I just want to look at whether or not we have got mother candles as well, just to make sure that we have got areas that momentum might pick up as well, buying power. So we do have one right there. We've also got another one here. Okay, right. Let's look at only these two first, and you can see that they are reasonably bullish. I mean, the weight moves as well with least wick on both ends is really a good sign. So it's 125 pips on that one. And then you have got the opening price of this mother candle is where the current price is at right now as well. And this is about 87 pips. Okay, so good. We've got these two, and I just want the current price to be on the body of any bullish or bearish mother candle, so that you want to see that it's on the price. Okay, so here you've got another one right here and another one right there. Good sign so far, especially on the daily chart. Okay, so now you have gathered that this is most likely an upward type movement trend. Okay, also if it falls, if it falls back down, what's happened there? Okay, if it falls back down, then it would actually fall onto a very significant resistance, which is there. Also that one up there. Okay, so don't know what's going on with this. Okay, so here we have got that resistance to look at, which basically means that if it starts to come lower under the 70, 80 area and lower under 70, 70, then you're looking at it going lower, whether or not under the 7000 area. Okay, so you want this as your gauge of where you need to consider downward type movement. So let's just see whether or not you have got prices starting to correct, coming down and coming down under these two red lines. If it does, then we need to actually look into a different strategy onto reversing trend trading, or reverse trend trading, or it's a total change of trend. Then we want to just go to the sell side. But at this moment of time, it's just very unlikely for it to just reverse and then do a down trend at this moment of time. But a lot of traders may also consider the area of oversold, overbought, and things like that, which I personally don't really believe there's ever an oversold, overbought. Okay, mainly because we're talking about a $1 trillion market per day, so we've got enough volatility to actually push any overselling and over buying sort of levels, especially the big boys. They can do that much more compared to the stocks and equities market. The Forex market can actually do that. They've got a lot more potential to outsmart these levels and to create new buying and selling pressure. So hence the reason I don't really use that sort of principle of overbought and oversold, but I like to look into the buying and selling power, which basically is where traders fancy buying and selling at that particular location. So location is really key, important. So here we have got that reversal right there, and then if you take that there, then that mirrors that as well. And this is still on the daily chart, and that itself gives us from current price now up to this area right here. That's about almost 100 pips, about 94 pips or so. Okay, so that is the 7180 area, let's say. So you need to exit that 7170 area. So then you have got a bit of a gap, maybe about 80 pips room or something like that, slightly give and take one or two more pips also for you to consider a buying type opportunity. But again, you consider the buying opportunity, you need to also know that that buying opportunity consists of how many pips, and that how many pips needs to also mirror your potential losses as well. Okay, so you need to be very careful with that. You need to accept what level of risk for each trade, and try to maintain that. That would probably be very helpful for maintaining the equity, your margin calculations, and especially your drawdown survival. How you survive the drawdowns, how you repair and go back to your break even needs to always reflect. It gets reflected better by you being very disciplined with the level of loss for each trade. Okay. Okay, excuse me. So, any questions so far? You guys are okay? AUD USD so far? All good? I'm moving downwards to the 4-hour chart, and I want to look at opportunities at this moment in time. So as you can see, you've got a bit of a correction there. I mean, it is doing a little bit of a corrective move with a bearish candle. So I want to use my stochastic oscillator as well. Now here, for example, we have got a high and then a higher high. Here we've got a high, yes, but then the current price now is actually at almost the same level. So potentially, yes, a bit of a divergence going on, but we want to be sure of the peak. And usually what happens is that you need at least about 2 candles down, or and then it gives you that peak. If not, you know, it's a little bit too early. But if we go on to the 1-hour chart, probably have got a very, very big resistance going on the 1-hour chart because okay, let's say this is this peak here, which is this one here. Okay, so this one here is this, and the current price right there, higher peak is that around here. Yeah, so if I were to look at this area, it mirrors that one to the current peak at this moment, because that's the peak. This is mirrors that one. It's on a straight sort of line, but then this one here is highly diverged. So you can see there is a divergence because this is an upward slope, a yellow line. This one here is a horizontal yellow line. So that and that doesn't match. So we have a divergence. So divergence mean that if we cut the price area, you can see that cut it through the price area. So we may be seeing potential movement to the downside at this area as well. Okay, where it got cut, especially with this horizontal line. So here, as you can see, it is actually doing that divergence at this moment of time. We've also got that candle with a longer the bullish candle with a longer wick, which basically gives us exhaustion of the upside market. So that means the buyers are exhausted to go up much more, hence the reason looking into this reversal now. So this one here, Alfred, I hope this makes sense to you as well, because here we want to do a lot of practice on the stochastics to look into divergence. All you need to look at is the price, the peak here, the peak there, the peak here, the peak there, whether or not it is drawn the same way. This is creating a higher high. This one was not even higher. It's just at the same level. So that itself is a divergence. So whatever trend you have right now may actually then reverse, usually with a divergence. So it is a divergence on a 1-hour chart. So I see there may be a potential of a downward move, but we want to also look at any potential for support, you know, how much will it go down to? So you've got, see this yellow line here, go down there, or maybe to the 38.2 area, because previous resistance will actually be support at this area here too. So that itself doesn't give us, you know, from current price, not much room. Still about 55, 56 pips or so. Okay, for the AUD USD for the corrective move to happen. But again, you know, because it's strong to the upside, it's looking quite clear on the 4-hour chart, on the daily chart as well. Not too bad. So I'm seeing more potential to the upside, but at this moment of time, it's correcting first, and then you will take the upward type movement later on. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions? No questions. We can end the session and then continue again tomorrow. Any questions at all, guys? You guys are okay? Okay, good, Alfred. All right, so far, yeah, we'll keep monitoring all the open trades as well, Alfred, and also Pratap, the rest of you guys. So any questions at any moment of time, just ask, okay? Let's see what's going on with the rest of the. Okay, the AUDJPY has played really nicely, actually. Um, we just want to be sure of the current trend at this moment of time. So current trend, what I can see on various other heat maps as well is it's a very big pickup of trend for the AUD USD on the upside. There's a lot more volume expected. So I think we may see a build-up of volume to the upside, more people buying as well in the early mornings of tomorrow. So another couple of hours from Malaysia time onwards, the Sydney Open is going to show maybe more buying power. Second to that, I think, is the AUD CHF as well. So the AUD USD and the AUD CHF may be something I would be looking at more to see whether or not we can have some buying opportunity for tomorrow. But the way I look at it, the AUD USD is quite impressive with a style that is actually appreciating in price. So it is, maybe it's collecting because now the market is closed in Australia. So you're only depending on the one side of the USD selling side of it. If the pickup of the AUD is up, so then that actually means that the AUD is a little bit slower this moment of time, but then they're gathering momentum. So when the Sydney opens, I think it would probably jump up much more because of the closing session, and then it's got more appreciative value. So I'm looking at AUD USD, monitoring it, as well as the AUD CHF for more buying opportunity. I want to look at correlated pairs as well. On the downside, we're looking at really strong trend for bearishness for the Euro AUD. Okay, so that's one of it that I will be monitoring as well. This one is for the downside Euro AUD. Um, excuse me. So AUD USD and AUD CHF on the buy side. The other one maybe as well is the NZD USD, because the NZD, when you combine, I'm not looking at AUD NZD at the moment, mainly because I just want to be on the safe side. I think probably look at NZD separately against the USD for buying power as well. So NZD USD as well. Because I like to look at sessions as well, and I see that the NZD USD probably best to mirror AUD USD when Sydney opens up tomorrow. Then you can look at whether or not the volume, but the volume in the American session for NZD USD has jumped quite a bit. You know, as zero point 0.2 plus, 0.20, 0.2 plus percent in just a matter of a couple of hours. Difference, you know. So then when the US opened just now, and then we got the European sessions and all that, then I also seen NZD USD really pumping up. So I think it may mirror what might happen tomorrow onwards on the AUD USD on the upside. So I want to monitor AUD USD, AUD CHF, NZD USD for the upside, and Euro AUD on the downside. So Euro AUD is really going very, very strong to the downside. You can monitor it a little bit. AUD, sorry, Euro AUD. Okay, you can see that it's, you can see the power of it. This is on the 4-hour chart. You see the downward type movement. So that is proving to be, you know, quite significant. Let's look at daily for the trend side of it. Now, this is quite interesting. I like to look at all this sideways type market, and which is really long, and then it burst upwards, and it's a daily chart, burst upwards 3000 plus pips upside. So this is quite good. I like to look at what we can see. So what I could also, what I would like to look at in this section, because I see that they've got a very, very significant sideways type market as well. Okay, all these sideways moving. And I want to look at See the line chart right there, and I want to make sure I've got a good grasp of the sideways type market. I want more touch points, obviously. Let's see. All right, and that as well. Okay, all right. So now I change that to the, just to make it really clear. You see how all these are kept inside. Of course, we got some spike upwards and all that, but that's where on average all this sideway market is. So I've got it between the 6280 area. Now it's at 6126. This is 6280. You can move it closer based on psychological numbers as well. 6150, let's say. This one here, 6020. Okay, we can see that it's sort of trapped in between this area right here. It needs to break out. So will the likelihood be to the upside, downside? Possibly downside if it's euro, especially between euro and AUD, because euro is just showing loads of downwards pressure. So if it does, you can see that all these, bearish candles are very, very obvious here. It's giving us a lot of bearishness. You can see more bearishness as well. So from the price now to the end of this bearish candle here, that's about 200 plus pips. So because we are looking at the daily chart. So what we can then do is look into the ADX. Okay, oh, not this one, the normal one. Okay, there you go. So here itself, it's still not picked up yet in its strength on the daily chart, on the downward trend, yeah, for Euro AUD. But then on the 4-hour chart is beginning to, especially, but then I don't really like the way the three lines are moving on the 4-hour chart. It's not very clear. Still, we may expect any sort of surprises. Here is building up to a good start on the 1-hour chart. So the more it builds up with the momentum of selling, the better it will be for us to know that it is building up. So I think from doing the two lines here gives us an indication that it needs to come down a little bit more and break out as well from this area. So it's 6127, 6120 or 6100, I would think. So I will just adjust this one, the lower line, to 6100 psychological area. And then we'll see how that line does. Okay, not too bad. So that line is showing all the sideways, that support right there as well. Very sharp resistance. Got more resistance right there as well. So it's reasonably quite good. So I would think that 6090 onwards, you want to look at selling, or 6070, 6090 or 6070 would probably be a bit better for the selling to take place. So we want to monitor this, and it could be your pending order as well. Of course, you want to look at your take profit and all that based on potential support area as well. Okay, so there you go. There we go. All that. All right, good. So I think when tomorrow comes, as euro, closes today as well, it'll slow down a little bit more. But then on its Australian session tomorrow, we can actually get a better idea, whether or not the Australian dollar pumps up more bullishness and positivity. Then you know that the euro, when euro comes, euro session opens, then we will see more of a gap down. Not All right, I think we can end the session for today. Any more questions? GBP triggered a buy, yes, and now it's going down. Yeah, of course, GBP CHF. Okay, yeah, it is on the 4-hour chart. It's looking like it's doing that downward type movement. Let's just focus on the trend as well. On the trend wise, as you can see on the daily chart, we've got all these. It's a bit of a mess here. Let me just, all the indicators are everywhere. Okay. Yeah, it is actually moving to the downside. Perhaps what we can actually do is to do a little bit of hedging on this one, looking at how it actually is moving. Let me just look on the trend side of it. Okay, give me a second. GBP CHF. Yep. Yeah, very low in terms of volume of trade though. The liquidity level is also very low. So maybe it will move very slow. GBP CHF. Let me look at both sessions as well. Very low volume, meaning very low participants in this. Even though we see it moving, it's very low participants. We may not see very high, big, long candles and all that trading at this moment of time. This one here is on the 1 hour, but if you look at that, maybe that is just because, you know, ending of the London session. Let's just check. Give me a second. All right. Okay, so let me just get rid of all these first. Give me a second. Start from scratch. Okay, GBP CHF. Go on the 4 hour and we can see you've got that. Okay, let's start with lower time frame and look at how the build up. It's becoming uncertain actually at the moment for GBP CHF. So it's on the way down here. It's trading at 1900. That's why it's really close to psychological number as well. As I can see, it's picking up from 50 minutes to 30 minutes, picking up. 1 hour also, though, picking up on the current price. And it picks up even more. It's trying to create more momentum to the upside. You've got a bit of a zigzag ABCD to the upside, but I think it's limited now. Let's look at this one here. We've got a bit of a, we've got the most recent bullish candle right here based on the daily chart. Okay. Any more bullishness from the current price? Nope. Here and here, it's about 86 or about 90 pips or so, potentially to the upside. But we are wondering why it may be impacted by something else. Let me just look into the current price as well. We've got a bullishness there. Let's see. Okay, bullishness there. Some more bullishness if it comes downwards as well on the daily chart. More bullish as well. Okay, I'm seeing that these three lines could act as a good bullish support level as well. So we want to monitor the 1850, 1.1850 area. Still, it's looking potentially, you know, to the upside. Perhaps a bit of a correction as of now. Bit of correction, perhaps. Let's see on this one here. If I were to take the Fibonacci to the upside. Yeah, around this area, 1850, 1820 to 1850, potentially some correction there. Upward type movement, you've got bullishness picking up. Momentum is strong, but momentum is not strong for any trend in the daily chart at this moment of time. So we need the smaller, lower time frame. 30 is not good. Only the 4 hours looking quite clear and strong. But this, because of this, you don't have the upward you don't have the strength of the trend. Then you're only looking at one time frame, and that one time frame is a 4 hour. That then we need to actually really look into the stochastic as well. One second. There you go. So stochastic. This one is, we don't have any divergence yet because this one higher, that one is higher than that, this one is slightly higher than that, this one higher than that, this one is also higher. So no divergence, no opposite. Too obviously on the 4-hour, on the, let me see, nothing here as well, CHF. On the 1-hour, perhaps you get a bit of a divergence. So that actually means that it may actually be on the way down, yes, a little bit, because you see this one here is for this peak. This area here is for that peak, correct? So from the price point of view, it's a higher high. From the stochastic point of view, is a lower high, correct? So that, and you can see very clearly the yellow lines, they are both opposite. So you have divergence. That means that the price here, because it's an uptrend so far, it may be looking into a downward movement. Okay, so from the current price, now we need to see for the 1-hour chart, it could potentially come down to this area right here, which is about 28, let's say about 30 pips or so to the downside. Okay, so it can come down to another 30 pips or so because your current price is here. And let's look at more. So I'll just look into this one here. End of this candle around here at 1879, 1880 almost, you see. So that's where the reversal can happen as well. So that means that it has a potential to drop down a little bit more, finding correction potentially at the 1880 area. Okay, so yes, so for now we want to just keep the trade for now. I mean, not to actually do anything as yet, because this is potentially a correction on the 1-hour chart. Okay, so here, for example, current price, I'm looking for more bearish single mother candle as well. Okay. We have some, but the one earlier was probably better. All right, upward movements. Okay. Yeah, I think as of now, GBP CHF clearly on the 1-hour chart, it's looking like it's got divergence for this short period of time. So yes, we'll have a bit of more floating as it comes down, and then, but it's not going to last too long, I would think, the divergence, especially because it's on the 1-hour chart. Okay, guys, so I am still looking at Euro AUD on the downside as well, and I've mentioned earlier on AUD USD, AUD CHF, and NZD USD. So I'm going to draw a bit of a plan, see whether or not these are areas we can look into as trading ideas. Okay, any more questions, guys? Is it okay so far, Alfred, for your GBP CHF? Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not much to do at this moment of time for the GBP because it just got triggered as well. But the other thing as well is it is going through a bit of correction. So good thing is the correction is on the 1-hour chart. So not as big a correction if it were to be on the 4-hour or the daily chart. Okay. All right, guys. I think that's all I have for you guys. And then we will continue tomorrow if that's okay. You guys okay so far? Perfect. Thank you. Most welcome, guys. Thank you very much. No problems. Okay, so anything, just direct message me on Telegram. No problems. Okay. And meantime, have a very good evening, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.